Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Movies to Watch Before You Die. My name is KeenMachine, and I am here with my lovely co-hosts for the evening or morning or whenever it is for you, Gab and Dylan. How are you guys?
You
We
botched
are
it, Keen. We
so
normally say our own names. You botched it,
I
but
know,
it's
but
fine.
I didn't know who to start with
uh
first, so
I felt I had a Zoom meeting earlier this morning where we had just enough of a lag that every time both of us tried to talk, we talked over one another. And I
hmm.
was like, oh, this relationship is going to go nowhere. And that's how I feel about the intro to this podcast because Dylan and I both had that deer in the headlights, like, and then we both decided to talk at the same time. So anyway, welcome to the episode. Should we start again?
No, we will not start again. What do you talk? What do you talk? We're talking about the 1962 musical, The Music Man. And you were very excited to bring this onto the podcast. I feel like I know we all have opinions we want to say. So I'm going to first ask Keen to give me the brief version, your 30 seconds or less. What is this movie about?
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
Explain!
As you would a child.
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
The Music Man is set in the early 20th century. It is a story about a con artist who travels from town to town pretending to be a music professor. He promises to create a children's band in the town to keep all of the youth out of trouble. He collects money from parents to get the band up and running, and then he ditches town with the cash. And that's his routine. And then something starts to go awry. His plans don't go as they typically do when he arrives in River City, Iowa.
Honestly, not bad. Because the IMDb
Yeah.
plot summary is probably just a bit more succinct version of exactly what you said.
I would hope
Traveling
so.
con artist Traveling con artist Harold Hill targets the naive residents of a small town in 1910s Iowa by posing as a boys' band leader to raise money before he can skip town.
Perfect.
Now,
Yeah.
I want to get to the first tagline because, quite frankly, I imagine I'm going to have to try and repeat it because I don't think I'm getting this right the first time. Are you both ready for the taglines?
Always.
As
Eh,
ready as I can be.
It's just a bang beat, bell ringing, big haul, great go, necker nothing, rip roaring, every time a bullseye movie.
Wow.
Okay. Good job.
Let me try it one more time. I'm gonna give it some more. It's just a bang beat, bell ringing, big haul, great go, necker nothing, rip roaring, every time a bullseye movie. Did that
That was
help?
Wow.
incredible. That was
I'm
perfect. Well
impressed.
done.
Woo!
Damn.
The next one from the Broadway play that kept playing forever. Closing tonight.
As someone who lives on Broadway, I can tell you, I know for a fact that is not true.
Yeah.
Seems very aspirational at the time they wrote that tagline.
Yeah.
That Rootin' Tootin' 76 trombones man.
Okay.
I don't like that one. Sorry.
The rootin' tootin', it
Yeah.
ain't for me.
I like a
No.
Rootin' Tootin' once in a
Do
while.
you?
It makes me think of the cowboy guy from the Looney Tunes.
Oh my
Man,
God.
I can't think of his name.
Yosemite Sam?
Yosemite Sam, the rootinest, tootinest son of a bitch. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The most marvelous movie ever made from the play that kept playing forever.
Wow. They were really sold on that. Okay.
Yeah.
The movie came out 5 years after the play had begun. So they were like, the
Oh,
good
this was
times will
like
never end.
manifestation right there. Attempted manifestation.
When 76 trombones turned into a million beating hearts. Who did it?
Oh, they couldn't have just left it at a million
Oh
beating
no.
hearts.
Yeah, it
It
was so
has
good.
it's
Now
good,
it
and
sounds
then
like
it
a
has a
murder
dash, and
mystery.
then in all caps, who did it?
It sounds like a
Oh,
murder
God.
mystery. I hate that.
Yeah, that's not for me.
We've got the man, we've got the music, we got the music man.
Shut up.
That's what it says. I
Okay.
I think my favorite taglines are older movie taglines because it feels like they're in the infancy of it and they're like,
Oh
slap
yeah.
some words on there. I don't know.
There's
Hmm.
a hole where there needs to be words.
Yeah, how many words can we stencil on this poster? Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one I got for you. The story of that man and his 76 trombones and the wonderful, wonderful tune he played on every heart in town.
I just feel
That's
like it's
decent.
misleading.
I don't think he actually ever brings 76 trombones.
I mean,
I
misleading fits the theme of the film though, Gab.
Yeah,
There is
but I
that.
didn't know. Like I want to be my mouth became agape when I learned that I was being misled about 15 minutes into this movie.
I was gonna say
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't hide the misleading, but okay. Uh, that's my taglines. We said what it's about. Should we hop straight into the opinions?
Oh God, I'm ready to go.
Oh, I am. Here we go. Okay.
In this critic's opinion,
That's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
Are you rude and tuned, ready to go, Gab?
Rootin' tootin', Dill.
Do we let Keen start, or I feel
We have
Gab...
to. We have
Okay.
to let Keen start. Keen, defend your position.
Oh my goodness. I do kind of feel like, yeah, it's like, okay, welcome to the grand jury. So to start off, I guess yes, I was very excited to bring this movie because when the other time I've been on, right, was for Wag the Dog, which I felt somewhat confident about. Like it's a hidden gem, but it's got great cast. It's got all these big names, but for some reason no one really remembers that movie. But it's funny. It's not very long. Um, it's got a lot of great quippy one-liners and whatnot. So I was like, yeah, they're gonna like this. Like it'll be like this will be even if it's not maybe a movie to watch before you die, they're at least gonna say they enjoyed it. This one, although I obviously adore the Music Man, which is why I've brought it to the Grand Council here today. I know that musicals are, first of all, not everyone's cup of tea. I know that this is an older, longer movie, and so it was. I am more um, nervous about today's verdict. But nevertheless, with that preface out of the way, The Music Man, I think, is my personal favorite musical. I adore it. I grew up with it. I was exposed to it very young. I think it's hilarious. It's so funny, unexpectedly funny and entertaining. And it's probably, I told Dylan this off the pod, but I probably watch this musical at least once a year. So I feel like I know it very well. I could probably quote most, if not the whole thing, because I've seen it so many times. And also, I got to play Harold Hill, the main character, when I was in high school in our
Ah.
musical. So it was already my favorite musical, and then the school did the musical, and I got to do that. So anyway, that's my humble brag there, I guess. Without the humble, maybe a little bit. But I love this musical. I think it's charming. I think it isn't what people expect it's going to be, although maybe I'll leave that for Gavin Dillon to expand on because I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. But I don't think people expect it to be what it is. I think they expect it to be this very cheesy thing when they just see the title and the title card. And I'm hoping that maybe it was a pleasant surprise for you too.
Can I say two things about Keen's opening statement before I let you go, Gab?
Please.
Oh God.
I love first the idea that he said to himself, Wag the Dog seems to fit everything that I think Gavin Dillon might like. And then he said, and now I'm just gonna say, fuck it. Like
I'm going the opposite direction.
yes. Now I'm just gonna one for them, one for me felt like the strategy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The
And you know
second
what?
thing,
If this goes through somehow, then, I'm very confident in my choice. I'm just nervous at the same time. So here we go.
the second thing I appreciate is I love like I'm just picturing you watching this movie the same way I watch Die Hard, where I probably watch Die Hard once a year, and I'm like, "Yippee ki yay, motherfucker!" I'm just picturing you like trouble with a capital T, just like once in a while, just throw that out there, and other people being like, "Huh?"
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Gab,
I
I'll let
appreciate
you
that.
go off now on your opinions.
All right, so I want to start with the opening sequence of this film. Actually, I'd like to say something first. So, what I think is really interesting about these movie musicals, because as Keen mentioned, this was a musical on Broadway before it was a feature film. And of course, in modern times, Broadway musicals that are adapted for feature films are edited for time. They're edited for like just the fact that they're on film. It is much more of a movie based on the musical than a movie of the musical. But back in the 60s, boy, they were really just taking every line and they were just putting it out there and like, we're going to take this script and the exact running time. And in some cases, like in The Sound of Music, they just give you intermission. They're like, yeah, get up, go take a piss, no problem. And so this is I imagine, Keen, very true to the musical adaptation of the show, correct?
Yes, I believe there's one song that is switched. Marion has a song that's different in the musical than in the movie. They switched My White Knight with, oh gosh, I should know this. I am a fake fan. They switch it with another song that she sings, but otherwise, yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
yeah,
You
much
yeah,
script for
flim
script.
flammer,
Yep.
you thimble
I
rigger.
know. I
yeah.
know.
Dylan. Whereas when you watch, say, Grease, most people don't recognize a lot of the things that happen in the musical
Mm,
because it is so different from the movie, because the movie is a movie and the musical is a musical. In this case, it's very much you are watching a production of the musical that just so happens to be on a soundstage instead of a live theater. All of this to say, this pitch is long. Like, this pitch goes for a long time. And the opening sequence where they're on a train and these traveling salesmen start to deliver information to one another about one of their kind who maybe is not being honest or something.
What do you
And
talk?
there's
What do you
this,
talk?
yeah, there's this very strange, like, like the opening song in Guys and Dolls where they're like talking about the gambling and whatever. It's like that, but they're talking about being a traveling salesman. I don't know. But I was like, what the hell is happening?
yeah.
And then there's all this like you don't even know these people and they're going back and forth and it's a lot of like yammering and then all of a sudden the guy gets off the train and he's like I'm the one they're talking about and you're like oh okay so this was all just like 7 minutes of just setup essentially.
I actually
Yeah.
kind of love that as a character introduction. All these people talking about they're traveling salesmen, but they know what they're talking about, and they at least are able to. They're experts with the thing that they sell, and they're like, "Who's this guy who he manages to convince these people to buy all this stuff, and he doesn't even know music?" And they're like, "What a bunch of bullshit!" And then he's like, "River City, Iowa." Well, I just got kicked out of that place. No way he's gonna be able to pull the wool over their eyes there. And he just gets up and he's like, "I think I'll try it." He's like, "I'll do it again." Like I kind of like that.
So I was just like very blown away by this very strange song where they're just kind of talk singing at each other. And then he gets to River City, Iowa, where the people pride themselves on not being very nice. And I thought, that's interesting because as somebody who's from a place where people pride themselves on like not being very nice, they I don't believe you. Like I don't believe that there are Iowans who are like, yeah, I kind of have a stick up my ass, but it's okay. Can anybody confirm this for me?
I have not personally visited Iowa, but it's not terribly far away from my Midwestern abode. So I would say I would imagine in the early 20th century that that probably would be true because these are people that are more living off the land and they don't like outsiders. They don't need those city folk and they're not interested in a traveling
Mm,
salesperson who thinks he's slick and like I would imagine that it's got kind of a not quite Little House on the Prairie, right? We're past that, but it's still very we're proud that we're here and we don't want anyone else to bother us. Leave us alone.
I
okay.
also would
Okay,
say,
fair.
Gab, that by the end of the song, because I literally wrote down, I was like, I feel like the song is Iwan saying they can be assholes, and I dig that. But by the very end of the song, it's saying if you're in need, you'll get help, and you ought to give Iowa a try. And like they have their little American Gothic reference with the couple there,
Right.
and I do think by the end, it's the same thing people say about New Yorkers, where it's like, oh, they're real douchebags, but once you're in need, they come together. What is it that they said in Spider-Man? You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Sure, sure. Kind but not nice, as I
Right.
pride myself on
Yes.
being.
Yeah.
So okay, fine. Thank you for clearing that up. And I've proudly never been to Iowa. And then
My goodness.
Okay.
then I may be jumping ahead a little bit, but this is sort of all to me in the beginning of the film.
Hmm.
They sing a song about not not needing music or something. I don't know. I just remember there being a point where I was like, this doesn't seem like a town that struggles with music because they've been singing and dancing almost the whole time. I don't feel like they're in need of a music man.
I don't know. It's not. They sing about the billiards and pool table.
Yeah.
Um,
I will also say before he comes into play, I think a lot more of the singing is just to natural sound than it is to instrumentation at all, which I think is very purposeful.
Yeah, the early, especially like the train song at the
Yeah,
beginning
it's
that
much
Gab
more
was
just the
talking about. Yeah,
diegetic
yeah, yeah.
sound of the
Yep.
scene.
Because it's supposed to emulate a train,
Yeah.
like the train sounds and being on the train and they're moving with the train. And yeah, 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 for sure.
Say train again.
Train. Yeah.
All right. Well, all I know is there's this Music Man and this town up until, they start asking the kids to sing and the kids suck. They seem like a town that has the music thing under control. And that's all I'll
Hmm.
say. Dylan, why don't you say how you felt?
I'll say, obviously, the movie feels of its time, but I think there's a lot of things that still felt relevant to me. One of the notes I have that I was like, still feels very relevant to actual times. Like, Robert Preston nowadays would definitely be like a drama YouTuber, I feel like, or something like that. Because it's this line where he goes, I'll get your town out of trouble. The town isn't in any trouble. Then I'll have to create some trouble. Like, oh my God. Yes, that's a very real person. He's a grifter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a
Right.
charlatan.
I
Yeah.
will also say I really enjoyed the song where it's like I shouldn't have enjoyed it because I feel like a lot of these songs are slower. You know what I mean? They're very much of their time, of the late 50s, early 60s, for songs that are supposed to be in a movie from the 1910s. You know what I mean? But once we got into we got trouble with the trouble with the capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Like I was like, I'm kind of digging it. And I will say though, the moment they have people go trouble, 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 trouble is the first moment where very consciously The Simpsons crept into my head, and I started hearing
Uh,
monorail, monorail,
Monorail,
monorail,
monorail,
monorail,
monorail.
because Marge versus the Monorail, which I think you watched, is
I did.
very
Yeah.
much like the loose basis for this because I think Conan O'Brien is the writer who clearly loves this movie. And I think he said, I saw in an episode that he was like, I would love to be the star. Like he was interviewing Ron Howard and he said, my dream would be to be the star of The Music Man. Like if they made
Oh,
another movie
wow.
of it.
Sorry, buddy. Uh, yeah, no, that was my first episode of The Simpsons now, so
Wow,
I know,
That's
I
crazy to
just have
me.
never watched it, but
that's wild.
it's fitting that the first episode I see of The Simpsons would be tied to the Music Man somehow.
Yeah.
So
Does Lionel Landley from The Simpsons do a good emulation of Harold Hill from The Music Man?
yeah, I think so. I mean, he's got the little, what do you call the hat? The like the no, it's not a straw hat, but like the
I want to say like a bowler or a derby, but I don't think it's either of
yeah, you got the
those.
little brimmed hat
Yeah.
and the little outfit, and yeah, I think it's great. I think it was really fun.
I want to piggyback on something you said, Dylan, regarding the Trouble with a Capital T song. Corey and I watched this movie on a Sunday, right after Dylan and I were at the baseball game together. And we knew we had to go for a long run. And I was kind of like, let me just see if I can find it on here and like make sure it's on Amazon. I can rent it or whatever. And I pull it up and I'm like, oh God, this is a long movie. We should just like start it now so that we can like get some of it out of the way before we go on our run and then we'll finish. And so we start and we're both kind of like, oh God, like what is this? And they're on the train and we're like, oh my God, this is old. All right, here we go. And I, as a former musical theater major, am quite aware of what I'm in for because I'm very aware of this style of musical, although I had never seen it. I was familiar with some of the music, I will say, the more popular
Sure.
songs that would have been in my book. But we got to the Trouble with a Capital T song when I paused it and said, we need to go for a run. And we were both kind of like, is this good? Like, are we into this?
Yay.
Corey was like, I'm kind of digging this. And I was like, I know, same.
That's
And we
trouble
were
with a
like,
capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands
that
for
stands
pool.
for pool. We were so into it. And then we went for a run. But at the time we were like, oh my God. And what I thought was really interesting was when they put the pieces together that his real name is Greg and he's from Brooklyn. And that's
Hmm.
I guess sort of like, oh well, he's a grifter from Brooklyn because they're all a bunch of and I was like, yup, yes, agreed. And then I was in love.
That's wow, that's a roller coaster there. Okay. I love it. I love to hear that you were excited enough to go on a run and come back and finish it. So
Yeah.
that's a very positive intro here.
There's a character I want to talk about. Amaryllis. First,
Amaryllis?
yes,
What
first
a little bitch.
who names a child Amaryllis? Even in 1910, I would be like, why would you do this to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second, Amaryllis says to Marion, I'll end up an old maid like you. Girl, you are like 8 years old. It is too soon to be thinking that, Amaryllis.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your head out of the gutter. Also, Marion is like 23 in this movie.
I think the actress, I think I looked it up. I think she was
I looked it up too.
28.
Yeah, I was gonna say she was
Mm,
probably late 20s, early
She
30s,
was
if
born in
that,
1934. The movie comes out in
when she did
1962.
it. But yeah,
okay.
Marion's like in her 20s.
1902.
Well, the Music Man is pushing 40.
He's 16 years older than her.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But back in 1962, they may as well have been the same age, like for movies at that time. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
hardly an age
it's a
for that.
closer a smaller divide, I should say, than some movies, musical movies that,
Yeah.
exist out there for sure.
I feel like in
Yeah.
1960, your average romance, the person could easily be their father. You know what I mean? And in
Yeah.
this, it would be difficult for him to be her father. Not impossible, but difficult.
I've seen it happen, but yeah, point
Very
taken.
progressive.
Yeah.
Uh, where were we
So,
going with Amaryllis? I'm sorry.
Amaryllis,
Oh, I just think
terrible
she's a little
name.
bit of an asshole too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I will say this, when Winthrop came on the screen, I thought, wow, they had a second cute redheaded kid back in these days. And then I realized, oh no, they only
Nope.
had
Just
one.
the
Nope,
one.
It's
it's
the
just him.
same.
Yeah.
Yep, it's him. That was really exciting. And then when I texted Dylan about it, he informed me that Ron Howard has a brother.
Yes,
Oh,
Gab was unaware that Clint Howard is the brother of Ron Howard.
No idea.
Yeah.
Had,
okay.
but it makes total sense.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that either. Sorry, Dylan.
Thank
It's
you.
okay that you didn't know that. I just think I there's no nice way to say it. Ron Howard was a very cute kid. I don't think he's like a particularly cute adult. And I went, well, at least he's not Clint Howard because Clint
I think
Howard
he's
is
a fine
less cute.
looking older man.
Ron Howard?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not, I wouldn't like take my pants off for him, but I'm just
Oh,
saying
wow. Okay.
he is, my fiance listens to this. Hi, Corey. He is a handsome, he's like an older version of himself, and therefore he is still handsome. He looks like,
He is
He's
an older version of
debonair.
himself.
yeah, but you know how sometimes people get crusty, you know?
I think, and I feel like she's downplaying it now because we texted about Ron Howard briefly. I think Gab's got a little bit of a thing for Ron Howard. I'm just gonna say.
No, I definitely don't. No, 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 no.
Joni
You
loves
know,
Chachi.
I mean, have you met Corey? That's, you can't really get more opposite than that.
So
I'm just saying.
I also want to talk about the mayor who they loved the bit of the mayor trying to do 4 score and 7 years ago and interrupting him. But it's at that meeting where this kid, Tommy, gets up and it's the clearest view of somebody getting up and placing a firecracker underneath somebody's dress. And he does it, blows the mayor's wife's ass off, I'm pretty sure. And then quick, like, not even that quickly scurries away. They're like, who did it?
Yes. And that's what I mean when I say that this is
It's
truly just like the musical, but
yes.
on film. Because in the
Yes.
musical, it would have to be obvious enough for the audience to see him do it. So the audience is in on it. But it can be far more subtle in a film. But they were just like, nah, that's do it like the musical. And it's like,
Yeah.
but we don't need that.
Yes.
I called somebody a flimflammer at work today and they thought I called them a slur.
Oh,
They were
Oh my
like
God.
really offended about flimflammer. I was like, it's fine. You could be a flimflammer. Thank goodness I didn't say thimble rigger. Like, that doesn't sound good either.
Yes.
oh
When I heard that,
no.
I was like, what did he say?
Yeah, I was like, they're talking about thimble riggers and Jews harps. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there was a lot of like very questionable language.
Balzacs?
Yeah.
The author Balzac is thrown around a lot, and I feel like the movie loved how much it was like, we can't say it because it's 1962, but it's kind of dirty sounding, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. I did. I was very blown away by their like reference to, well, you were sleeping with the guy who owned the library before he died, and then you like come to find that it was like her
Old
uncle
miser
or whatever.
Madison. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, hint, hint, we know what you were doing in there. And it's like, I'm confused because if it's okay for the Music Man to be so much older than her and for them to like fall in love and whatever, why couldn't she have been in love with the old guy who owned the library? Like
Because the Music Man's not
now?
that much older than her. In reality, he is, but in the movie, no.
Well, old
Well,
miser Madison was her father's friend. So I think it was like, and also I think they were like, oh, she's a gold digger. Like it was like you slept with him to get like money.
We all
And now
know
he
you only.
died, and now you own the library, all like you don't have the library, but you own all the library books. So you're like guaranteed the income as the librarian. And so I think it's like this scandal of like, oh, she was sleeping with the town's richest person because
Very Anna
she
Nicole
wanted
Smith.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know how wealthy those librarians are. Okay.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
Right. Interesting. Okay, well, a lot of my hot takes are being just brutally shot down. So, Dylan, what else do you have?
I really liked. I hope and I pray for a Hester with just one more A. I was like, ooh, spit and rhymes here. Like I was like, that's a cool line.
What did that mean?
What do you mean? It's a reference to the Scarlet Letter.
Yeah.
He's trying to find loose women.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I also really like, and they did it a couple times, and it never like wore out for me. This effect that they would do, and it very much felt like a stage effect too, but they did such a good job of it. It doesn't feel like it's a spotlight where the entire background would turn black, and you would just have nothing around the characters anymore as they either like started to sing or finished a scene before it blackened out fully.
A
And they did it,
spotlight, just like theater.
yeah, but it's not like a full spotlight where like I can see a circle
Yeah.
around them. It was just perfectly lit to just them, and I was like, "Ooh, nicely done." And I felt the same way later in the movie when they're doing like they're mixing the two songs together with the quartet, the Buffalo Bills, which hate the Buffalo Bills, but that's fine. And with Marion, and they were doing this thing where it was just switching between the two of them. You know what I mean? Spotlighting just the two of them and switching. And I
Hmm.
was like, pretty good 1962 movie. I give you kudos for that. Like that was like some Michael Bay type shit
Yeah.
at the time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that was some
Yeah.
impressive edit work. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So, we haven't yet begun to address the elephant in the room.
Are you talking about the mayor's wife?
Please, I don't know what it is, so please.
I'm not comfortable saying it.
Is it about flimflammery?
No, no, it's not a slur, I don't think. You're
Well,
really
my
gonna
God,
make me
Scap,
say
say it
it?
before 20 odd 10.
So somebody needs to explain to me. I need a damn good justification about shapoopy.
Oh,
A girl
okay.
who was hard to get.
Right.
I so there were two songs about not sleeping with the easy woman.
Right.
The first one, I guess, didn't hit home hard enough. So then we needed the second one, and it needed to be almost like, listen, I know we're kind of at like the peak of the action, but let's just take a moment to remind you not to be a whore. Like, I was like, but what's gonna happen? What about why am I shapoopy, shapoopy? I was like, I don't need this. I've seen Family Guy. Can we go back to the movie? It's almost over, please,
It's
God.
also the guy with like the most annoying voice who sings the song. He's like,
Yes.
Shipplefee, Shipplefee, the girl who's hard to get. I was like, please, not him. Let
Just
anyone else in this cast sing it.
They had to let Buddy Hackett have a moment, okay? He hadn't had a number.
He really
Oh,
like it felt unnecessary. That's
what the
fine.
fuck was that?
But I will say that it's pretty crazy that the Music Man clearly has had an impact on certain people. Conan O'Brien
Yeah,
and Seth
Seth
MacFarlane
MacFarlane.
were
Yeah.
clearly impacted by this because I'm aware of Harold Hill's character from The Simpsons. I'm aware of Shapoopy from Family Guy. And Till There Was You, I've heard in, The Wedding Singer and all over the place a bunch of times. I didn't know it was from this,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know this song.
which that song, say what you want. That's a great song and a great romantic song. Like it worked on me when Shirley Jones was singing it.
It's a great song. Maybe, Corey, that should be our wedding song. Just kidding.
Am I just leaving that
The
in as a note for you for later?
yeah. Save it. That way, when Corey listens to this, he can tell me what he thinks. I'm just kidding, by the way. I I just don't understand. Like, I get it in a musical when they need to fill time for a big wardrobe change or a big
Sure.
set change. And they're like, let's just put a song in that's just here for fun that people like so we can, like, do what we need to do. But I was like, for the love of all that is holy, we are watching a movie. I don't need this. There is nothing, and there are so many long dance breaks where I'm like, I get it. Okay, whatever. We were so close to the end. I was like, I really just wanted the satisfaction. And then all I got was not even like a slow, sad song or a reprise of a song we've already done to drive it home. It was literally shapoopy.
Shapoopy, shapoopy.
You remember when Kanye put out that like unhinged album where he was like scoop de poop,
Oh my
scoopity
gosh,
poop de
yes.
poop? That's what it reminded me of.
Really hate that comparison, but okay.
You know
Sorry.
what? There were much worse Kanye comparisons she could have pulled out, I guess.
That's,
Honestly.
there's a plethora these days. No, that's a fair criticism, I would suppose. I think they just wanted something fun and upbeat because it had been a lot of like slow, romancy, more songs, and I think they were like, we need something fun
We
that
gotta
the
wake up
kids
the
will
crowd.
love.
Shapoopy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
you know,
I'll also say I feel like I don't know if I love it or hate it. It feels again of the time, but I love how easily he tricks people in this movie. They're like, we gotta find out about your background. He's like, my background. And the four guys are like, damn it, we're gonna sing again, aren't we? I'm off of it. Like they're like,
Yeah.
fine, you've escaped again, Harold Hill.
I also really liked that anytime, and I don't know if this is like, you'll have to tell me, Keen, if this is something that is in the script as a character point or if it's something the actor made up. But every time he was about to like leave the scene, he would like do the like wipe his hands of
yeah.
this and then run away. And I was like, that is such an interesting like there's just okay, cool.
It's definitely like a almost a breaking the fourth wall. Like you're kind of like letting the audience in on, it's like he's almost as if he has an audience, like in the
Yes.
moment. Like, yeah. I don't know the directional on that. I mean, I know
Did
it's
you
in
do it?
there. I did it when I played Professor Harold Hill. Yes, I did. But also like
Okay.
it's on a stage and you can kind of break that fourth wall a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's fun. I think it just cements his character even more so.
Yeah.
Like he's just always performing, right?
Yeah.
Like he's always performing, whether it's to the people of the city or to a particular person that he needs to get something from, or just in general to himself. He's just
Yeah.
always on it giving a performance.
I'm going to give a criticism that I think is probably of the time and not necessarily of this musical in particular, but
Okay.
there are really only four female characters, and only two of them are interesting.
Yeah, you have the mayor's wife,
Interesting.
Marion, Amaryllis, and Marion's mother.
Oh, I
Oh,
was
I
thinking
wasn't
of
even
also the
thinking
mayor's daughter.
Amaryllis. I was thinking the mayor's daughter,
Ye
Oh, the
Zendaya, or
mayor's
whatever her name
daughter.
was.
Yes. Brigitte.
Zabriva.
Pazita.
Brigitte.
No, it starts with a Z. I
Oh.
watched this with
Oh,
the
Zanita.
captions.
I'm sorry.
Zanita. Yeah, which
Zanita.
like
The
Yes.
breeze.
Yes.
yeah.
Egads.
Zoloft, right.
Who kept
Um,
Um,
saying, ye gods.
yes.
yeah, I liked her and I liked the mayor's wife. There's the Marion and Marion's mother don't give a shit. Very boring. And then Amaryllis is such a little bitch. Whatever.
You don't
I
like
mean,
Marion?
Marion's kind of important.
No, she's not interesting.
She's the most important and interesting character, quite
She's
frankly.
the straight man in the story.
She's the fucking
She's the detective.
female lead soprano. Oh, I don't like him. And then I fall in love with him. It's very boring.
I think she's the one who has a better arc than Harold Hill does because she's the one who ends up growing much more because she starts off saying she just wants someone boring who will let her be herself, who will care as much about her as he does about himself. And by the end, I feel like she is grown in the sense of she wants somebody who is as exciting as she is or who is as willing to be big and boisterous and with her and that they can be bigger and brighter together. Whereas I feel like Harold Hill, I love the performance, but it feels like it's not until the very, very end that he's like, maybe I do like this town and don't want to swindle them. And I don't even feel like it does that very clearly, except for one moment where he looks in the water and pictures himself conducting a real band. And he's like, what if I could have a rootin' tootin' band of my own? I feel like for 98% of this movie, he's like, swindles McGee. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait, I don't want to swindle no more. Like
He's like the Grinch, yeah.
yes, I think it's kind of because I have seen that Simpsons episode so many times. I was like, he's gonna like he's getting out of here with the money, right? Like he's screwing these people over, right? And then when he like has his little turn where he's like, y'all can tar and feather me if you wish. I deserve it. I was like, what Really? Like you've been so clever for so long, and this is it? You're like, I hope it works out fine because I've just given up.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't think she's interesting. And I'm not necessarily thinking just about character arc. I'm thinking about songs. All of her songs are very like whiny and like, oh, I'm sad and whatever. She's not like an audience dazzler.
I mean, I think she has to be. I mean, she's the foil to Harold Hill, right? I totally understand your criticism. I I think it's just that Harold Hill is so you have so many over the top people in this story. You have Harold Hill, who's boisterous and charismatic and always pulling one over everyone else. You've got the mayor and the mayor's wife, who are these eccentric, power trippy, big duck in a little pond, crazy people. You've got Zanita and her whole thing going on with Tommy Giles and their thing, and she's loud and whatever as well. You've got even Marion's mother is like loud, and she's the, stereotypical like Irish American immigrant woman, like very, she's got that going on. And she's always making an exclamation of some kind. And Marion and her brother are just the like quiet people trapped in this town with all these loud, eccentric, attention-grabbing people. And I think someone has to fill that, and I think that's been part of Marion's role. Is she thinks she's above all of it, but in reality, she feels excluded from a lot of it. And part of her
Totally.
arc is like coming into like I can be a part of this community, and I can take up space and I can do more things, and I don't have to just live in my living room with my piano or at the library.
Totally.
But
But
yes,
my
yes,
point still stands that in musicals of this time, your leading lady was always kind of boring with a like soprano voice part and no very interesting songs or like character moments at all. Think like Maria from West Side Story, right? Think
sure.
like who's the one from Guys and Dolls? Not Adelaide, the other girl. It's like, oh, snooze fest. We get it. Your whole
Yeah.
job in this musical is to fall in love with someone. That's it. That's all you do. And I'm a little resentful of that because we didn't really have like a dope alto in this.
A
Yeah, there's
dope
not really an
alto.
alto. It's very much Shirley Jones showing off her soprano talent
Yeah.
and Robert Preston being I guess tenor. I guess I would say tenor.
Yeah.
Um, but or at least baritone. But
At least a nine, if not a 10.
yes. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a fair criticism of the time. I mean, for sure. And that bleeds into the movie a little bit.
Yeah. Dylan, you
Absolutely.
would play the Shapoopy guy.
Buddy Hackett's role,
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Marcellus.
Yeah, you'd be great.
I think I'm offended, but okay.
No, no, no. You would be wonderful.
She
Thank
just
you.
hates
Does
the
does
character.
Keen know? Does Keen know your middle name?
Why does
Oh
that
my
matter?
God. Is it Marcellus?
No, I wish.
I'm named after
No, because
Marcellus Wallace from Pulp Fiction.
because I feel like there's a musical tie.
She's referencing Bye Bye Birdie. My middle name is Conrad.
Oh yeah. I think I did know that actually.
Okay.
I
I'm sure
think
I said it last time.
I believe I
yeah,
asked my mom once if it was after that, and she was like, "No,"
just
and
liked
I'm like,
it.
"So why?" And she was like, "Ah."
Yeah,
I'm like, "Okay, great, thank you for that." Like,
I think
just
it's a
lie
cool
to
name.
me. Eh.
What is Zach's middle name? Travis?
Yeah, he gets a normal one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
Conrad's better
interesting.
than Travis. Sorry.
I
I
prefer Shapoopy.
agree. Dylan Shaboopy Pollock.
Dylan the Flimflammer Pollock. Uh, which also, I feel like Till There Was You is definitely an interesting song, no? Or do you just mean that it's not like a big number?
It's not a big number, and
That's
they're all
fair.
like a
Yeah.
little bit slower tempo. There's no dance break razzle dazzle
Well, she has,
moment,
I mean,
you
she
know?
does a big dance in the library with everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, you're with everybody.
Fair enough.
There's no like you have Anita in West Side Story who gets like this ass kicking number, multiple of them. Adelaide is such a fun character and such an interesting, quirky. And then you have these like soprano women who are just like, "Yep, I'm the love interest. That's it. My job is to go from I don't like you to I love you, and that's all." Maybe they sing a sad, slow song or two.
It's a fair criticism. I will say at least they give Marion she's the only person in town besides maybe the mayor and for his own separate reasons, but who like sees through Harold Hill immediately. And it's just
Yes.
like, this is all BS. This is all a charade. Like, why am I the only person in town? Once again, I am the only person in town who seems to have a level head and who takes an interest in anything beyond just like the gossip and the rumor mill of this town.
The
And
only
so at
one who
least she's
couldn't be
like,
tricked into a cappella
she's,
singing.
I'm sorry.
She's the only one who couldn't be tricked into a cappella singing.
Right, right. Yes. So I mean, at least she's portrayed as an intelligent person. She's not just the love interest who sits on a stool waiting for the man to come.
Yeah.
Like she does have a role to play. But yes, I mean, she doesn't have any like upbeat, exciting songs.
It's the Harold Hill show from
It
start to
is.
finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's called The Music Man. So,
It's not
Sure.
the music woman.
It's not the music people.
Uh, which I will say, for somebody who is a professional swindler, which would be a great business card, I kind of hate the fact that he talks so much about Gary Conservatory and Odd Five, and like she's very easily able to look up. But the town was not built until I'm going to keep saying Aught Six. Like I love saying
mhm.
Aught instead of '06, but whatever.
It's like when people refer to the early 2000s as the aughts, and it's just like, are we doing that? Is that a thing? I don't know.
We're in the
I
roaring
just say the
20s right
early
now.
2000s. I don't know.
Uh,
Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
but it feels like it gives a good reason for her to have this moment where she does reveal that she's known the whole time that he's totally full of shit, which for me brings into question why she allowed it to go on. But I kind of it swept right past that for me because I found her performance so endearing that I was like, oh, she's been won over by the bullshit. She knows is bullshit, but I don't care. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
When
she
when
felt he
Corey
was
and
real
I
enough.
when Corey and I were like going over the plot together, he goes, "But how did she know that it wasn't real?" And I went, she Googled it, saw that he wasn't, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she Googled it."
She asked Grok. Yeah, she was like,
Right.
I was like, I don't know, whatever. She went to the thing and saw whatever.
Yeah.
Gary, Indiana, famously where Michael Jackson is from, true or false?
Yes.
true. Why
Also,
else would you
True.
say it?
very scary place today.
Really?
Yeah, like desolate town. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's like murder capital. Like it's bad.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's bad. It's bad.
It's
Sorry.
trouble.
Please cut that
But
out.
yeah,
Troll with a capital T.
it's definitely that. It's unfortunate because, go on that Music Man road trip, but maybe not to there. Maybe not that stop.
I also want to say for Robert Preston, one of the things that I really like is he's not given a lot of moments where he's not professional flimflammer and swindler.
Hmm.
And when he at the end is, talking to Winthrop and just revealing the truth that he is a liar and a con man, he has this line where he says, I always think there's a band kid. And that leans into the aspiration of, well, I wish I was real a little bit more. That like I could have used one or two more times sprinkled within the movie, but he just he delivered in such an endearing way that I feel like when I looked up Robert Preston, I was shocked that I didn't know him from more things. You know what I mean? That I was shocked that I
Yeah.
was like, why wasn't this guy more famous?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know him from anything else either. But yeah, I think that's an interesting idea though, to be like, oh, maybe we show a little shake in his confidence earlier on instead of so far into like the third act.
Not even a shake in his confidence, just maybe him in his private moments. Just give me one or two more times where he's like pretending to conduct
Hmm.
when he's by himself and he's saying, we got the instruments, and he picks one up and he goes to play and he goes, you're no good, or something like that type of
Hmm.
thing. Like a moment of reflection where it's like, I wish I wasn't this guy. And then he goes right back to being, but damn, is it good to be this guy type of thing.
But isn't it
Hmm.
possible that he only felt that way when he realized his true feelings for Marion?
Well, then show me that a little bit more. Show me that starting to happen a little bit more. It feels like at the end he is like, I flipped by the town. It's time to hit that train. But wait, I'm in love. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There's a lot of sexual harassment in this film.
It was the
From
60s. That wasn't sexual
Yeah,
harassment.
I mean,
Hmm.
yes,
It was
especially
just
from
boys being boys.
our
Hmm.
favorite anvil salesman.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
like, give me 5 minutes and I'll drop my anvil in you. Like,
Maybe not that. Maybe not that seriously, but yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, they were really unapologetic about this, but okay. Um, and then they really made Pool out to be something bad, huh?
I mean, isn't that what they always do though? Like, I think it makes sense for a movie that's set in 1912 to make billiards into the big
The
craze,
devil.
just as yes, the devil. Just as I feel like if you look up, the 1990s, it's rap music and video games. You know what I mean? And in reality, these things are not poisoning our children's minds. TikTok nowadays, that type of thing.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just to
All
be
right.
clear, it's only pool. Billiards is fine. It's just
Yeah.
pool.
I
Wait, do
thought it
they
was so
say that?
interesting that they called it Pool.
Yeah, because they were like, they got a new pool table down at the billiards, and like they're like, if I remember correctly, a billiards table and a pool table are different sizes, and that is the difference.
I thought they were synonyms.
Interesting. I thought so too.
No, I believe pool was considered like less whatever. Like it's like not as fancy as a billiards. I will double check, but I believe that's the difference.
No, you're correct based on legacybilliards.com. Although the
Okay, there you
terms
go.
are used interchangeably, the two do not mean the same thing. I'll read
Yeah.
more. I would read more, but
No,
you don't need
that's
to hear more.
we already know. Pool's trouble. That's all we need to know. That
Trouble with a capital
16
T.
numbered ball is the devil's tool. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I also found myself thinking, I think this little Ronnie Howard, he might have a future. You know?
He was cute. He went a little hard on the lisp.
Gab, I
That's
know
it's
you
all
have a
he's
thing
got.
about speech impediments, but
Yeah.
yes.
That's his entire character, which I think I had read, I think in the original play or the original writing that it wasn't a lisp, it was something
It's
like
not a
some
play, it's a musical.
you've done this to me before and I hate
Keen,
it every
am I
time.
right or am I wrong?
You're very correct. Yes.
It is a musical, not a play. Don't be ignorant.
I'm
You
not
There's
guys
a
aware that
get
it was
guess.
AC stage
something
left and go fuck yourselves.
I was not aware that it was something different in the original Broadway production though. No.
Yeah, I think he has
Was it just
some.
something more subtle that was hard to like or
I think
less
it's something
subtle to
less
get
subtle. I think
across?
it's something that he has like a
Oh
deformity
dear.
type of thing. And I
Oh,
think they,
Oh,
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
yeah, like it was something that was
He's the
You're like
hunchback.
a harder struggle than just doing this with your ethic.
I was going for Tiny. I was gonna say like Tiny Tim's role was already taken, so they had to do something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Like,
Although
darn you, Charles Dickens.
Little Ronnie Howard could definitely have pulled off a Tiny Tim.
Yeah, I
He
could
must
see
have
it.
at some point in his life.
I love that credit for him though. Not being Ron Howard, he's Ronnie Howard. I'm like, oh
Ronnery. Yep.
yeah.
So
I
cute.
I
also
mean, he's
love.
great in the role, though. I mean, yeah, his whole thing is to just be cute and have a lisp, a very loud lisp. But
I tried to look it up. The Widow Peru is played by, I believe her name is Pearl Kelton. I could not find out if she's actually Irish, which I
interesting.
kind of hope even more that she's not Pert Kelton. I'm sorry, because she's just getting to do the most stereotypical. Oh, I remember my late husband back before he died from the potato famine. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like,
Yep. I still quote her every once in a while, like somewhat ironically, but also maybe not ironically, with like how many times I've done it. But sometimes I'll just be like, oh, praise the saints and the Lord be thanked, or whatever. Like I'll just say it because I've just heard her say it so many times, and
I've been
it's
using the
great.
Think system on you from the parlor.
Yes, she's
The
great.
think system. That really made me laugh.
Yeah, the think system. You just
Which
gotta think the note.
I will also say I was
Love it.
going to be furious if, like, obviously, like we said, full spoilers for this 50-year-old movie, more 60-year-old movie. When he is caught, they're like, let's see if the boys can play. They've got their instruments and uniforms. And he literally says, think, guys, think. You know what I mean? I was like, if this works, I'm going to be so bad. And they
Yeah.
play fairly badly, but, they're doing their best. And I kind
Very
of
badly,
appreciate
but
that
yes.
at least they are bad, but the parents were proud to see them trying.
Yeah.
It's a very cute ending.
Yeah.
I love that part of it. I also love
Yeah.
that we don't rush to a wedding scene or anything like that. You just end with, "Oh, that's cute. Okay, everyone's proud of their kid because they have an instrument and they're standing there and that's what parents do." And oh, love that. And then it's just, "Okay, great. That's the end."
They filmed the wedding scene, but they cut it for time. They said it's at a perfect 2.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a second
Yeah,
too long.
I appreciate that very much. And it was cute, and it leaves you wondering, like, does he stay? Do they get married? Whatever, blah blah blah. But I don't need to know. I'm fine with the question.
Right.
Do
Yeah,
they get
it's
remotely better at these instruments?
Right, yeah. Does he become the band teacher?
yeah, what is
Um,
this man gonna do if he's not swindling people?
Does
What like
Tommy Stupp the mayor's daughter?
oh yes,
Surely.
surely.
And she
Yeah,
goes,
he puts a
"He
different
gets."
firecracker up her dress.
Oh my goodness.
If nobody else has anything, that I would love to get into the fun facts, or they're just the facts.
There will be no fun in
Please?
these facts.
I want the truth.
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 94% with an average rate. Oh, it does not have an average rating out of 10, which was weird for me. But I think that's because it only has 17 fresh reviews and one rotten. So I think it needed more reviews.
That's a good sign. Okay.
The audience score is 85% with an average score of 4.2 out of 5. IMDb gives it a 7.7 out of 10. Michael W. Phillips Jr. from Goat Dogs Movies said one of the most obnoxious musicals ever to be staged for movie cameras,
Oh my God.
which I believe he must have been the one rotten.
I can think of many worse musicals, but carry on.
Nick Davis from Nick's Flick Picks. Robert Preston is no perfect in a bright musical even non-fans of the genre will enjoy. John A. Nesbitt, who is related, of course, to Mrs. Nesbitt.
Wait a second. Did I tell you? Oh, I should tell you about that. I thought it was a coincidence. Okay, so can I give Keen the background?
Sure.
Please.
So, Keen, I'm currently doing this continuing education certification on like human behavior change and the psychology of behavior change
Okay.
as a nutritionist.
Sure.
And so we're talking a lot about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And when you have a growth mindset, you're open to being bad at things and trying new things and learning. And when you have a fixed mindset, you're like, this is how it is. I suck. I'm terrible. I can't do this, whatever. And so I've been sharing with Corey a lot of what I'm learning, and we're talking about it. And we're
Yeah.
identifying people that have a fixed mindset. And the other day, apropos of nothing, Corey repeats something from Toy Story. He's like, "You're a toy. Toys don't fly." And then he looks at me and he goes, "You know, Woody had a fixed mindset. He had a fixed ass mindset. And you know what? It rubbed off on Buzz because at one point, Buzz goes, 'Fuck it, I'm Mrs. Nesbit now.'"
Which,
It's like,
it is a coincidence because I looked up these facts before we had that conversation, but still.
so
Incredible.
anyway,
Okay.
related to Mrs. Nesbit.
Love that.
Yeah, so let's get back to John Nesbitt from Old School Reviews. Reminds of that good old down home attitude of the Midwest.
Here,
And
here.
Emmanuel Levy said the music is glorious, but as a movie, this is a photograph play, a nostalgic evocation of small town American. That maybe it was Americana, and my thing corrected, whatever. That was congruent with Kennedy's New Frontier. Within a year, though, Kennedy would be assassinated, and the optimistic mood would vanish.
My God.
Kind of a breakdown.
I don't think that's the movie's fault, but okay.
A couple letterbox reviews. Patrick Willems said wall to wall bangers. Mr. Ballyhigh said, I laughed, I cried, I shapoopied.
That's fun.
This
Okay.
one from Cameron. I yearn for the old days where feuds between traveling anvil salesmen and flimflam artists threatened to rip apart entire Iowa town. And last letterbox review from Ely. I sat through what felt like an eternity of this only to check the time to see that it had only been 30 minutes. Sorry to this music man.
Wow.
The movie is directed by Morton DaCosta, who also directed the play. He directed Island of Love, and he directed Anti-Name. I don't know those other movies.
Okay.
They were just things he directed.
Interesting.
The screenplay was written by Marion Hargrove, who also wrote The Waltons, Maverick, and I Spy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And
Interesting.
it's based
Big
on the
Waltons
play.
fan. Sorry,
Really?
carry on.
Somebody
Yeah.
has to be still. Somebody's got to carry that forward. Somebody still has to know who John Boy is.
Oh my God.
And it's based on the play written by Meredith Wilson. It stars Robert Preston as
Yes.
Harold Hill, who you may know from The Last Stranger. Is that right? Oh boy, past
No
Dylan. What
idea.
did you do?
These are old things. Yeah, I don't know.
Victor
I'm sorry.
Victoria or All the Way Home? Shirley Jones as Marion Peru, who you may know from The Partridge Family, Over the Garden Wall, or Grandma's Boy.
Over the garden wall.
Yes, she was Beatrice's mother in two
Yes,
episodes of Over the Garden Wall.
she sings a song.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know that when I watched it the first time, and then I was looking up the music on Spotify for the show, and I saw that she had a credit, and I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, I was doing the research for this, and I was like, I know two things here. Grandma's
Wow.
Boy. I was like, oh, okay, good for you,
Wow.
Shirley Jones, because she's like the hot grandma in Grandma's Boy. She's
Oh,
the
good for
grandma who
her.
stoops Nick Swartzen.
You know, you keep saying that.
Stoops?
I am just gonna say this, and it's very controversial, but I'm just gonna say it. I think Shirley Jones has a better, equal, if not better, voice than Julie Andrews.
Get out.
No,
Dylan, kick this person out
no.
of the meeting.
You're in control of this Zoom,
I
Gab.
I am in control of the Zoom.
I love Julie Andrews. No shade to her. But I think that I don't understand how Shirley Jones, she was in a lot of these like movie musicals. She was in like Oklahoma, she was in Carousel. Those are both awful. But she was in like a bunch of these movie musicals, but then she just never really seemed to break out of that with her music. And then she did The Partridge Family, where she had to like not showcase her voice. So it was I don't know. I love Shirley Jones' voice. I think it's beautiful.
I imagine she
I,
and Julie Andrews probably competed for a lot of similar parts.
yeah, and Julie Andrews won every time because Julie Andrews is better. Mary Poppins, The Sound of Music. I can't think of Maria, obviously. Um,
Yeah, fantastic.
God,
I
the
do feel like
grandma in Princess Diaries.
I do picture Shirley Jones being like, just a spoonful of sugar. Like,
Yeah, and Julie Andrews being like, nope. First of all, when Julie Andrews lost her voice, the whole world lost
Yeah.
everything. I'm not sure where I'm going with this,
all
but that
right.
was devastating.
You lost the end of that sentence as well.
It was devastating. Dylan, was it not devastating?
I'm still
It is
devastated
sad.
to this day.
Yeah.
Were you not devastated, Keen?
No, of course. Like I said, I think Julie Andrews is wonderful, talented, amazing. I think Shirley Jones just maybe didn't get her cut of the fair share of glory because she also, I think, is on par with Julie Andrews in terms of talent.
Ev
Sure.
said, you aim for Julie Andrews. You best not miss, Keen.
I'm
Well, she lost her voice,
shocked.
so
I just didn't expect her to be
She
so
did.
defensive.
It was botched. It was an inside job. The call came from inside the house.
It was Shirley Jones.
Yeah, it was Shirley Jones.
Shirley's revenge.
Hold on, because now I have a question. Who played Thoroughly Modern Millie in that movie? That wasn't Shirley Jones, but it was
that
somebody
was
with a
also
similar
Julie
name.
Andrews.
No, in the movie.
Yes. Thoroughly Modern Millie is Julie Andrews.
Oh, I'm thinking of what's the other one with all the fucking, oh God, Keen, help me. Um, the one where if they could see me now, da, na, na, na. What's that? What's that? It's
Give him more
Um,
than 5 words to go off of.
he knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know that I know that song
Oh, yes,
somehow.
you do. If they could see me now, those little pals of mine, I'm eating something. Um,
Do you know
Sweet
musicals, Keen, or are
Charity?
you a flimflammer?
Okay.
Sweet Charity. Who played Sweet Charity?
Let me look. I don't know off
Shirley
the
1969
top of my
MacLaine.
film,
head.
Shirley MacLaine.
Oh, different Shirley.
Shirley MacLaine, not to be confused with John McClane, who we love. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Well, one is real, but yes.
Okay. I thought maybe there was a chance that it was her,
No,
but
I do
no,
think
it
part of
wasn't.
it may just be that the musicals that Julie Andrews starred in are overall, I think, more beloved than a lot of the ones that Shirley Jones got starred in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
well,
Thoroughly Modern Millie and The Sound of Music, with the exception of The Music Man. I mean, Oklahoma, I'm sorry,
ugh,
it's awful.
garbage.
And Carousel is my least
Carousel.
favorite musical, I think, ever to exist. So I just think that also it was just like, darn, like, you know,
What
she's
was the
great in them.
musical that Wally was watching?
I'm sorry.
Wally? Remember Wally? He was
Oh,
watching a musical.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a real musical. Is
No,
it?
it
It is for
definitely
sure.
was.
It gave like it looked kind of Singing in the Rainy, but it wasn't Singing in the Rain.
It's Hello Dolly.
Hello,
Hello,
Dolly.
Dolly. Okay, there you go. It's been a long time since I've seen
Yeah,
Wally,
you're
to
very
be
much
fair.
putting Keen on the spot to know that. Like, I don't even
Sorry.
know if he's seen
That's a deep
Wally.
cut. Like,
I'm
sorry.
like, you're our musical expert.
I haven't
Okay.
seen Wally since like I was in middle school, probably.
Yeah,
We
it's a
find
bit of
you
a downer.
guilty.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember how we got here.
We were talking about Shirley Jones.
I
I don't need to
challenged.
Yes.
re-describe how we got here.
I played my
Yes.
trap card of Shirley Jones, and here
Yes.
we are.
You played your -5 minutes card on Shirley Jones. Buddy Hackett as Marcellus Washburn, who you may know from It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, The Love Bug, or
Hmm.
as Scuttle in The Little Mermaid.
Hmm.
And Little Ronnie Howard as Winthrop Peru, who you may know from Happy Days, The Andy Griffith Show, or directing Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, or How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It won an Oscar for Best Music, was nominated for Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, Best Costume Design, Best Sound, and Best Film Editing, and won the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture Musical.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it won that one. That's exciting.
Now we can get to the fun facts. So, the two songs, 76 Trombones and Goodnight My Someone, are the same tune played in different tempos. Meredith Wilson
Hmm.
used this technique to present a masculine and feminine slant on the events surrounding Harold Hill's arrival in River City and his budding relationship with Marion. Now, despite Robert Preston, who of course plays the titular music man, winning Tony Awards on Broadway for his performance, Warner Brothers executives wanted a bankable star in the lead role for the movie. According to Shirley Jones, Frank Sinatra was offered the part, but Meredith Wilson insisted on Robert Preston and threatened to pull the movie rights. Cary Grant was also
Good for
approached,
him.
but told Warner Brothers executives, not only will I not star in it, if Robert Preston doesn't star in it, I will not see it. Preston got the part, and the movie was obviously a success despite Warner Brothers' misgivings.
That's great.
Wow.
He was great.
Shirley Jones was pregnant during the filming, and by the end, she was getting very pregnant. The costume designers kept adjusting her dresses several times to conceal the pregnancy. When she and Robert Preston embrace and have their kiss on the footbridge, her unborn baby, who would be named Patrick Cassidy, kicked Robert Preston. Years later, when Cassidy introduced himself to Robert Preston, the actor told him, "Yes, we've already met."
Oh, that's cute.
That's really funny.
Meredith
I did know
Wilson,
she was pregnant at the end. I did not know about the kicking.
I think they do a very good job concealing it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she doesn't get to do anything exciting. They were like, we can't just be throwing pregnant women around. Meredith Wilson made more income off of the Beatles version of the song Till There Was You than he did off of the play and the movie combined,
Oh,
which, I'm not crying for Meredith Wilson, but
yeah.
Meredith Wilson is a man.
yeah,
Yes.
this was
I want
back when
out.
I mean, it's like how, what's his name was named Marion, oh my God, who am I thinking of? The Western song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I have a male friend named Marion, but he's from Romania. So we're always just kind of like, I guess that's what they do in Romania.
It is interesting how a lot of those names that we now consider very like traditionally female names were also
Yeah, or
men. Like
unisex.
Ashley, like was a man's name
Yeah,
in
Ashley Parker
the
Angel.
times. Yep.
Ashley and
And
Gone with the Wind, who she's pining for the whole movie.
yes.
Ashley Longsworth from the Waltons.
Of course.
Lindsay, like Lindsay Buckingham.
Yeah.
John Wayne. It's his name that's Mary. I just remembered it.
It's his real name.
Yeah. John Wayne's real
Interesting.
name is Marion. Yeah.
Amazing.
Mrs. Shin's clique is called the Biddies, which
Oh my God. Wait, in high school, I loved calling girls biddies, but it was a very specific type of girl. A biddy is a girl who like wears a lot of makeup and does her hair and like a ton of jewelry and like gets her nails done, but then comes to school in pajamas.
I'm about to give you the definition of biddy, which my mom used to throw around all the time, which is the only reason I found this piece of trivia interesting.
It's an old person,
A
right?
biddy is defined as a woman, especially an elderly one, regarded as annoying or interfering.
A biddy.
Yeah, but I like a biddy.
Pick a little, talk a
So
little.
biddies were the girls that like it was like putting lipstick on a pig. Like, why are you rolling into school in your pajamas? You look like you just rolled out of bed, but like put a full face of makeup on. But then the boys that were into them, they were called bitty boys. So you
Did
had
they have
biddies and you had bitty boys.
Bitty bitty
I don't know if
bitty
I should
bitty
say
bitty
this, but I'm going
bitty
to say it
bitty bum.
anyway. Did they wear Cookie Monster hats?
No, but
'Cause
I
I feel
think
like
I'm a lot older than
that's
you.
yeah, that was the stereotype, at least for us, was always
Yeah.
like
No, it was like pajama pants and like an oversized hoodie. And then the boys would just wear like whatever they were going to wear to practice. And it was just like this disheveled, disgusting couple. But like
interesting.
her lipstick would be all over his face. I don't know. Biddies and bitty boys. What can you do?
It's like how now they call it monochroming, but when I was in school, we called it, if someone wore all the same color, we just called it blobbing. You were just a
Interesting.
blob of color. You were blobbing.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
heard a
Like,
term for either one. I just think of goth, like from All Black, but
Groutfit.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was what we called it. Although I was older than high school at that point.
No, yeah, because like if someone just like showed up in all one color and it was like clearly you don't know how to like match clothes together, like we were like,
Yeah.
oh, they're blobbing.
by the time she
Yeah, it
was
makes
throwing
sense.
around Groutfit, she was already an old biddy gab over there.
I love it. The slang.
You flim
Fascinating.
flam and biddy, you. You thimble rigged me for the last time.
Dylan's incorporating flim flamming into his everyday vernacular, and I'm very here for
You
it.
will hear flim
Yeah.
flam on this podcast in the future. I guarantee it.
So
Good. If nothing else,
unsubscribe
I
while
have
you
that
can.
legacy.
If I don't say flim flam, at least within the next 2 or 3 episodes, I have failed you. Morton DaCosta, who directed the movie, was also the director of the play on Broadway, which I guess kind of goes along with what Gab was saying of this is very much just the play shot.
Sure.
And the film was selected for preservation in the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Please consider that in your rulings.
That is all the facts that I've got.
I didn't know that either. I didn't know it was in the Library of Congress. That's great.
Yeah, Congress. Love those guys.
What did they ever get wrong?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Is it time?
It is time, Gab. It is the time for mail.
Mail time? When you control the mail, you control information.
Mom asked me to ask you if there's any mail for us here by mistake.
What?
First, the thing I forget about often, we have a comment on Spotify, which you can do.
Oh, hello,
You're listening to
Spotify.
this right now. You can leave a comment on Spotify. This one's from friend of the podcast, Legacy, on Young Frankenstein. Of all the Mel Brooks movies I've seen, this one has evaded me. I've seen Men in Tights, Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, and instead of watching it, I performed in a local production of The Producers. It sounds charming, and more Gene Wilder is always a treat, so perhaps I should give it a shot someday.
I agree.
And then we have a few more comments we can get to. This one is from Lanola Cola, who said, I hope Gen Z doesn't co-opt putting on the Ritz into putting on the Riz.
Oh God, I haven't even thought about that.
I respect it. On the clip that we did for Sum of Young Frankenstein in 2 words, somebody just wrote Abby Normal, which I respect.
Yes, Abby normal.
Somebody else wrote pretty good. So I appreciate these people who commented that were like, I will try at your game. And last one from Scotty Cameron, of course, which shorter than usual for Scotty Cameron.
Oh,
Very
Scotty,
abbreviated for
getting the
Scotty.
hint.
Oh my God. Ah, yes, the key of our podcast, active cruelty to the listener.
You know, we need a common thread, don't we?
When I think of putting on the Ritz, I think of Stewie using mind control on Chris. Now I feel like I have to see Young Frankenstein. When I heard the question of favorite Canadians, my first instinct was Adam Gontier from 3 Days Grace. But then I'm reminded this is a movie podcast, not a music podcast. So I thought of Ryan Reynolds, which I'm surprised his name wasn't mentioned, given how many jokes in his movies are about him being Canadian. It's funny that Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling are both Canadian. I do prefer Gosling because he was in Drive, and that's his best movie, in my honest opinion. Drive, did we say it was a movie to watch before you die?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Can you look it up?
I'm trying right now.
I think we did. It's so good.
I don't know if we did.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't trust our opinions anyway.
Yeah. You know, sometimes we get to talking about it and we talk ourselves out of things.
All the time.
Yeah.
I will say Ryan Reynolds was very intentionally not mentioned because I don't like him.
I don't care for him myself.
Yeah, he feels very much like he is constantly crafting an image, and I'm sick of your snarky performance in every single movie, Mr. Reynolds. I'm
Yeah,
done.
yeah, we don't need any more snark.
Not a fan of Blake Lively either. I can leave
Oh
them both.
God, don't get me started on Blake Lively. You know I worked with her.
Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
forgot about that.
Yeah, I'll
She was
save
a
my
jerk.
comments for
I bet.
off air. Yeah.
Okay, and we just have a couple emails to get to from our Canadian correspondent Kyle. First off, obviously, I must address the spelling elephant in the room. Words like favorite and color are spelt that way with U's. I added the with U's. He didn't say that, but he put U's in the words.
I figured.
Because English, the language the three of us speak, is, from England, and that's how those words are spelt. On to more important things. Based on last episode, Young Frankenstein, I was curious if you would bring back one celebrity from the dead. Who would it be and why? Your favorite Canadian, Kyle Naranya.
Oh God. I mean, I have a solid fucking answer for this. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first if you have a solid answer.
Robin Williams.
I feel like I knew that was going to be the answer.
Yeah. I was in Disney World when he died, and boy, did they pull out all the stops with like all the genie stuff, and it was like really, I took it really hard. And I think it was because I was there and like in it, and it just felt so bad, but like I was not okay.
I feel like a lot of people took Robin Williams' death very hard. I don't feel like I did as much. Obviously, it's terribly sad.
Mhm.
I feel like if we're going based on like whose death did you take the hardest from an actor, it would be Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. I would bring
Oh,
back. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Say
yeah,
what you
yeah.
want, Gab.
I am. I am.
Okay, okay. We'll both tone it down here.
Okay.
But I guess I would also say part of me thinks of actors who like went really young. So like part of me thinks of Anton Yelchin.
Mm,
Part of me thinks of Christopher Reeve, who like it's not that he was so young, but it was just very tragic what happened.
yeah.
I'm assuming if I'm given these godlike powers, I can do whatever I want with them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course.
yeah, of course.
Of course.
And maybe Sean Connery, because I feel like if he came back, he'd still say some funny things about like being really old timey and being like, it's okay to hit a woman with an open hand. You know what I mean? Something you're like, you can't say that. What's the matter with you? And he's like, yes, I can. I'm Sean Connery.
Yeah, and you know what? He can.
Well, you can't now.
He can't. No, now he no longer can. But
No.
if we brought him back from the dead, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I I'm trying to think of like other celebrity deaths that were really tough. I guess like Joan Rivers was sad, but I feel like she was kind of old and, Carrie Fisher was tough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Amy Winehouse was sad.
I mean, I'm not a fan of her music. It's still sad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
monster, but
Listen, anybody who dies is sad. You know what I mean? Like your grandma, your cousin, like we're sorry. But okay, fine. Yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking about anybody else who's dead. So, James Earl Jones is dead
I would
recently-ish.
appreciate it if he were not dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like it if he were alive.
I would like him to not be dead now, please.
Yeah. Oh God, remember when Steve Irwin died?
Yeah.
Oof.
He'd be a good one.
Tough. Tough. How about Chris Farley, John Candy?
Although I feel like if Steve Irwin weren't dead, he'd have gotten himself killed some other way by now already.
I mean, it was a risk, you know?
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Uh, Chris Farley, John Candy.
Good answers. Good answers.
Both fat.
Yes, that's true. I often think to myself, dude, follow in their footsteps. And I do.
You're not nearly funny enough. Here's the thing though.
Oh, God.
Chris Farley died of like drugs, etc. I think John Candy died of fatness.
Candy.
Yeah, yeah. So those are both really sad.
Chadwick
I do.
Boseman.
Oh, yeah, Corey and I were just talking about that. That was really
Yeah.
sad. I think it was really unfortunate or let me rephrase that. I think that it's really touching every time Adam Sandler does a tribute to Chris Farley. You know when he like sings about him and stuff?
Yeah, but it'd be nice if he did like in his honor better movies. You know? That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
but I mean, he's got to make money so he can keep writing songs about his dead friend.
I guess we'll all just have to go with it.
Okay, can we yeah, this is it. I'm finished.
Okay. Any other feelings about the spelling of the words?
None.
Because Kyle had sent a follow-up email in anticipation of your response. I understand that Gavin's going to say, well, Kyle, here in America, this is how we spell it. And the last thing I would want is for this to be the spark that lights a U.S. Canadian conflict. Kyle Duranya.
That's nice. You know what's funny? I don't really identify as like American. Now, listen, I know what you're thinking. I am from America. I was born in America. But I feel like when you are specifically from New York, you don't identify as American as much as you identify as a New Yorker. True or false?
Mm, I guess so. But if that song comes on, the one that's like, I am a real American, I'm like, I'm fucking in it. You know what I mean?
No, I have never heard that song before.
Really? It was Hulk Hogan's theme song.
Oh, that means nothing to me.
You're no fun.
Yeah.
Corey would get this.
He would. I don't. He has often described people as looking like Hollywood Hogan.
Ooh, not somebody you want to look like.
Not someone you want to look like.
At
It's
virtually
never
any
a
age.
compliment.
Hulk Hogan, also the only person who was like super bald, but keep the side hair super long
Yeah.
and made it work.
Yeah. He had a skullet.
Did you just come up with that?
No, that's a real thing
Oh,
people say. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I'm glad I introduced it to you.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that America, and I remember when I used to travel for work, like America is so big and the people are so yeehaw that I feel like that's cool. I don't have a problem with it necessarily. I have a problem with some of their ideas, but like for the most part, we are just really not like that here. And I feel much more like culturally, I am more entangled with the idea of like in New York, people walk fast and talk fast and are kind of abrasive, but like are nice on the inside. I identify with that way more than like bales of hay.
Yeah, you're saying that you're more coastal and more elite than those other people. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, Dylan. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Good. I'm glad I could make
And
that clear.
yeah, and that's how I identify. And it's funny because sometimes when I go to California, I feel like these people are much closer to me than some other people in the middle. But, I don't know that there's like a relationship there. I think it might just be a coincidence. But anyway,
Cab's over here like White Goodman from Dodgeball. We're better than you, and we know it.
I mean, listen, it is what it is. But you know what? The cost of living sucks. So who's better than who?
True, true. In Ohio, we could live like kings, but we'd have to be in Ohio.
Exactly. No, thank you.
Sorry, Ohio. And then we have one last email, but I'm unfortunately not going to play the clip because it's like 2.5 minutes out of context. Scotty Cameron, who did an edit for our verdicts. Hey, Dylan and Gab, I had to add a particular theme to the verdicts because it was just so fitting. Enjoy. And with your little, I'm putting in air quotes, twist that you did on the Young Frankenstein episode, he added the Saw theme.
Aw, thanks, Scotty.
Yeah, it was a bad twist.
Well, I tried something new.
You tried. All right. Before we got anything else we want to try before we try doing these verdicts for the Music Man?
I guess we ought to try. I don't know. I was going to say something about 76 trombones, but this movie was too long.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
Oh, God.
All right, Keen. Well, it's your pick, so you go first.
Okay, here's my, members of the jury.
Trouble.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Pick a Little, Talk a Little song, but I think that's a very fun one as well. But with the biddies. But yeah, so members of the jury, thank you for hearing my case today and surveying all of the evidence of this 2.5 hour film. I propose that this is a movie to watch before you die because it is culturally significant and in the Library of Congress. No, I think it's a wholesome, fun, family-friendly musical movie. I think, I have forced countless people to watch this movie over the years. I think, if someone is not into musicals, this is something that can hopefully pleasantly surprise them a little bit with the variety of music that's in it. It's not just all slow songs. It's not just Hamilton all fast songs. It's this fun. It's got a little bit of everything in the musical world. Um, it's got a fun, humorous story that keeps you kind of enticed with, oh, we're watching this guy who's a swindler. Like, this isn't just a one and done basic love story. It has that element as well, which was very traditional for the time, but it's got a fun twist to it that you don't really see in any other media, especially at the time. Like that was a very unique thing to approach. So, regardless of all of the extra details and fluff, I think this is a movie to watch before you die because it has a little bit of something for everyone. And while it is a little lengthy, it's fun. And it's easy to introduce to musical lovers and people who aren't big musical fans alike.
Kev,
Okay.
do you want to go next or do you want me to go next?
I would like to go next.
Here
Go
we
ahead.
go.
So, as mentioned, when I started this movie, I was not thinking it was going to be super enjoyable. Again, I'm very familiar with the style of musical. I kind of knew what to expect, although I had never seen it, either the movie or the actual production. And within the first 20 minutes or so, I was really pleasantly surprised. I was very bought in. I thought the music was really good. I was shocked at how exciting I thought it was. And then I finished the film, and it
Okay.
just couldn't end soon enough. It it just dragged, and then right when you think surely this must be the end, nope, here comes Shapoopy, and it was just a little bit too long for me. And I don't mean to sound like somebody who can't stomach a movie that's like 93 minutes or longer. I genuinely love musicals, and I don't think that I would dislike the production. I do not think that there's a world in which a really strong production of this show on Broadway would not be delightful to watch and that I wouldn't enjoy every second. But as a movie, it did not do it for me. I really wanted it to. I think it has potential, but I don't know, you might have gotten me with the Matthew Broderick more recent
Oh
version.
God.
This just really, I'm so
That would be
sorry.
a
It
hollow
didn't do it
win.
for me.
That's okay. I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
That's fair. Now, here's what I'm really interested in, Dylan.
First of all, I am just picturing Gab watching Shapoopy like the end of A Clockwork Orange with her eyeballs forced open, like just be like, no. But um, it was really interesting. I feel like at times it feels very dated. I could easily picture cutting a half hour out of it. Maybe one or two songs that could easily go. Maybe one or two times where he has to trick them into doing a cappella could go. But I did find myself, like the people of River City, Iowa, very charmed by Robert Preston the entire time. And I can't imagine anybody else being the star of this movie because he really does carry the movie on his shoulders. Shirley Jones is there as a great support with, like I said, Till There Was You will always work on me. I think it's a beautiful song. But boy, oh boy, does he make all that flimflammery work. I would watch this 5 times before I would watch the last 5 years again. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
but we're not playing, is this a movie to watch before you would watch the last 5 years again? We're playing, is it a movie to watch before you die? Are you ever going to buy the DVD and have someone come to your house and go, you know what, we should watch The Music Man?
Based on that, I probably would not, but I liked it.
I feel the same way. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed that's what I'm saying, Dill. Like if I got us tickets to go see it on Broadway, starring like Hugh Jackman, who I actually think may have been in it,
He
correct?
did with Sutton
He did.
Foster.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we probably would have a rip-roaring good time, but I don't think this film is something I would ever want to sit through again.
But I would say that if Hugh Jackman were in it and you did surprise me with tickets, I think it would just be a bang beat, bell ringing, big hall, great go, neck or nothing, rip roaring every time a bullseye play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now,
We award you no points, Keen. But we
Nope,
thank
sorry,
you for
that's,
Keith.
coming.
you know what? This was honestly probably what I expected to be the case was the I liked it, but no. So
Why? So what's the deal with the Matthew Broderick version?
it's bad. It's so bad, Gab. Well, one, I don't like Matthew Broderick. I can't stand to watch Matthew Broderick.
Get him
I'm
out!
not big on Matthew Broderick either. I
Out!
think it's fair.
What?
He's a known murderer. But
First of
also,
all, it was manslaughter.
He's a
okay,
known manslaughterer.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
you
an
can call it what you
accidental
like.
murder.
Um,
I saw him
I
sitting in a Pret-a-Manger one time
Interesting.
on like 23rd Street.
I've told the story of when I did see him in person on the street, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You sent me the photo.
Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
great about it. He wasn't bad about it, but he wasn't great about it.
I just can't believe you don't
There is just I don't like him. There is something
Ferris
about
Bueller?
Okay, well, pin that. We'll come right back. I The only thing I have ever up like so I guess we'll pull the pin and do it now. I saw Ferris Bueller for the first time like a month or two ago because I had never watched it because I knew Matthew Broderick was in it. And I was like, I'm not gonna like it. Everyone's expectations for this movie are set way too high. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it.
And
I
then
finally watched it. I will say it was an enjoyable film. I think I feel the way about that film that you feel about this film. I think it was like, yeah, that was fine. I would not sit down and watch it again.
I think Matthew
Um,
Broderick only has like two or three movies that are only really worth saving. You know what I
the
mean?
cable guy.
there
It's
is something about Matthew Broderick being on screen that I cannot enjoy it. There is something that I just inherently do not enjoy about watching him perform, and I don't know what it is. I can't like pinpoint it. I just don't enjoy it. I do like him, however, his one saving grace in The Lion King because I
Sure.
don't have to look at him. And for some reason, that is the factor that I have. Any of the producers can't do it, can't get
I
through it.
can't believe it. I tried to get
I
Dylan to get you to switch this with the
I
producers.
know, and I was like, I can't sit through that movie. I can't do it.
which if we were gonna watch the producers, I would want to watch the original, not the remake anyway.
Nathan Lane is too fucking good. You gotta see Nathan Lane.
But
Realizing now,
anyway,
like having watched the trailer for it because I was watching the Curb Your Enthusiasm season where he's in the producers, but the fact that Nathan Lane is playing a straight man alone, I don't think that I can buy that performance.
He always plays a straight man.
I don't mean
I
comedically.
think so. To revert back to your question with the Matthew Broderick Music Man, I have seen parts of it. I think he ruins the Trouble song, which is really disappointing. I just don't enjoy him as Harold Hill at all, probably because of my preconceptions against him as an actor anyway, for some reason. I'm sorry, Matthew Broderick, if you're listening to this and to
Oh,
Steal
he
Gab's
is.
line, we know that you are.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm sorry. I
Who
don't.
played Marion?
Kristen Chenoweth, which is a person that I love, but that is a horrible
That's a
casting
bad
decision
casting
in
choice, yeah.
my belief. So between those two, I've made it through the first 30 minutes of the film and said, please God, no, make it stop. I'm dying.
Dylan, you looking
And
it
I
up right
couldn't get
now?
through it.
I'm trying to look up to save for later Matthew Broderick's version of Trouble.
It
Because
is
I
I
want to know
awful. He's
it.
very understated. He plays a very understated version of Harold
Yeah,
Hill,
I can
and that
respect
that's
him
his
being
doesn't
like,
thing.
work.
because your town it has trouble. That's trouble with a capital
Yes.
T. And that
Yes,
rhymes
Yeah.
with
and it
P, and
that
that stands
doesn't
for poor.
work for the character in my humble yet firm opinion. So anyway, I
All right.
refuse to watch that version of the movie. I have not seen obviously the Hugh Jackman take on the role. I would be
Yeah.
curious to see what that looks like. I have not seen
He'd
that,
be
but
wonderful. Hugh Jackman can do anything.
Oh, he can do no wrong.
wow, high praise. Um, okay, but I accept the verdict. I figured this was a long shot, but like I said,
I've got to
Sean
tell
Oh,
you,
it
wants
was a
to.
long shot, all right.
I
I
got to tell
think
you, going into this, I thought she was about to tear you limb from limb. Because she was texting me like, "Am I really watching this?" So by the time she got in here today, I was like, "She's gonna eviscerate poor Keen." Like,
No, I only eviscerate Kyle. I don't think I hate the musical. I think I just hate the movie.
oh, we hate the movie now. Okay, that's a
Well,
little further.
we're
Okay.
we're just
Okay.
the longer you keep me here, the worse it's gonna get. So we should wrap this up.
Okay, I accept the verdict. Thank you for your time. I'm not
Thank you
crying,
for
you're
coming.
crying.
we shall now execute Keen.
Tar and feather, here we go.
Yep.
Do we want to? We should at least give Keen a second to pitch his podcast. No,
Yeah, please.
to give himself some flowers.
Sure, yeah. So if you loved this, you love hearing my voice and you want to hear my voice with another person's voice, we do a podcast called Gone Fishing Pod, fishing with a PH, where we review scam emails and texts and other scam attempts that we receive. We break down the emails in a humorous, fun way and kind of dissect them and rank how good they are at trying to get their scam across. And then we always talk about a story of the week in the world of scamming, which is kind of on topic for this movie, actually. So we do that. I do that with my friend Catherine. We go by Catherine Fish and Robert Edward Herring, or Red Herring. Those are our names on the podcast. So yeah, swim on over. We're at Gone Fishing Pod on Instagram. Our email is at gonefishingpod@gmail.com if you want to reach out to us that way as well. We love to receive scams from people and share them on the pod. We've shared a couple things that Dylan has sent us before. And, I'm just waiting for Gab to send us something sometime now.
Oh, I will.
It's really a podcast about flim flam and trickery.
Absolutely, yes. And Dylan was a
Yeah.
guest once as well. So that was a fun episode that we had. But yeah, we do that podcast and it's a lot of fun. We try to record every other week like you guys do. Sometimes life gets in the way, but typically it's about a every other week or a fortnight, as I like to say. But no one else in my world will allow me to call things fortnightly.
I was going to start
But
interrupting you
yes,
like the mayor trying to say four score if you keep trying to hit me with Fortnite.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's all we've got, right, Gab? What are the things we usually say at the end here?
So if you want to suggest a movie or let us know how you feel about this or any of our other movie picks, you can send us an email at movies-to-watch-before-you-die@gmail.com. In an email, you can include a voice note, but you can't send it through Anchor because Anchor doesn't exist anymore. In the link tree below, you can find a link to all of our podcasting friends in the Hall of Pods, as well as my Venmo, our merch store, and some other cool links. And beyond that, just figure it out. Click around a little bit. You're a grown up. You'll figure it out. Thank you so much for coming on, Keen. It was a pleasure. And Shapoopy, Dill, play the song.
Now, a woman who kissed on the very first date is usually a hussy. And a woman who kissed on the second time out is anything but fussy. But a woman who waits till the third time around, head in the clouds, feet on the ground, she's the girl he's glad he's found. She's his Shapoopy.